Welcome back. Let's think about the fourth principle of economics. People respond to incentives. An incentive is just something that induces a person to act. It could be a reward or it could be a punishment. Some of these that are common in economics are prices. High prices are an incentive for businesses to make a product, and wages are an incentive for us to work. Now, incentives don't have to be prices. They can be explicit or they can be implicit. They can be intentional or they can be unintentional. So let's look at a few examples. So an explicit and intentional incentive might be management saying, we want employees to talk to customers. Therefore, we're putting salespeople on commission. That commission is an incentive for salespeople to talk to customers rather than fellow employees. An implicit but intentional incentive, one that's designed to change behavior without maybe stating it, is policymakers saying, let's get people to drive e-vehicles by making gasoline more expensive. An increase in the price of gasoline is an incentive to drive e-vehicles. And then there's some that are implicit and unintentional. So owners and policymakers back in, say, the 1990s decided to pay corporate executives with bonuses linked to company stock performance. Turned out that this was an implicit incentive and unintentional, that was an incentive for managers to think short term and maybe fudge the numbers a little bit. So these implicit and unintentional incentives of paying corporate executives with bonuses led to several accounting frauds and scandals. You can look them up if you want, but some of the big ones were Enron, Lehman Brothers, WorldCom. There were several of them. When we changed the incentives, people changed their behavior. So our fourth principle is people respond to incentives. Now this can lead to unintended consequences of policy changes. So examples of unintended consequences, because the incentives changed without us fully working it through, would be a change in the laws about seatbelts. So seatbelt laws requiring people to wear seatbelts led to fewer deaths but more car accidents. Turns out when we require people to wear seatbelts, they feel safer, so they drive faster. The seatbelt saves them in the accident, maybe from dying, but driving faster leads to more accidents. Oops, unintended consequences. Raising taxes on cigarettes. Seems like it might be a good way to raise tax revenue, but it's an incentive for people to switch to substitute products. Getting the incentives right is not easy. It's difficult. They're unintended consequences because they're changes in incentives that we didn't fully anticipate. So getting these incentives right is not easy, but people will respond to them. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.